So when will you see results in your business? When will you get the first client? Or maybe you've had a couple of clients, but then nothing, like complete silence. When will you get client number 3 or client number 10? When will you see results? When will things pick up? When will things change? When will things get better? I'm Michelle Sera, and this is my channel, Coach Diaries, where I bring you along with me on my very ambitious goal of growing my email list by 4,000 subscribers in 2025 with no paid ads or complicated strategies. I share with you every week what I'm doing to grow my list, what's working, what's not working, the massive mistakes I've made. And I've already made some big ones this year, and we're not even that far in. And I also share with you a whole bunch more about growing your business as a solo coach. So let's jump in today. Those questions I get all the time. And if the question isn't being asked directly, I get the sense, right? I get the urgency, the little bit of panic, or maybe even the fear coming in. So let me go through this kind of checklist, and I've talked about this many times. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth today so that you understand, you get a good picture of what it's going to take, right, to grow your coaching business. Now, much of it is influenced by your personality. Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? Do you like to talk to people a lot? Do you not like to talk to people a lot? In my case, I'm very introverted and I don't enjoy having tons of conversations. Now, I do teach, and so obviously I coach, so I do work with groups of people on a regular basis. However, I do have to limit that because otherwise it drains my energy completely. Typical introvert. So, having said that, having a system in place where I have a high volume of calls like strategy sessions or enrollment conversations doesn't work really well for me because it's very draining and then I'm not bringing my best energy to the table. So if you are someone though who is very extroverted or loves having those conversations, and it is not, for some people it boosts your energy. If you are that person, then obviously how well you're able to generate those calls and start and have those conversations, it all comes down to having conversations with potential clients, right? So how often you're able to have those conversations is going to be a key factor in how quickly you see results. Now, how do we get to having those conversations? And if you're someone who, like myself, who is introverted, you're not having as many conversations, then it might mean that we're creating more and more visibility and providing more and more content and high value content to have something similar to a conversation, but not exactly the same, and certainly not as fast, right? However, all of that visibility and that credibility that we're building and that value that we're providing results in some sort of conversation. So it might be, often I have people that reach out to me by email, or they reach out to me on Facebook or on LinkedIn, right? So I still have these conversations. They're just a little bit different. People reach out to me on Voxer, so I can have conversations in that way as well. And I do have people that I talk to from time to time on Voxer. So how do we get to that point? How do we bring together this online presence for our coaching business, especially when you're just one person, you're a solo coach? So the very first thing is list growth. This is what my channel is all about right now, right? As I go for this goal. And if you are brand new, just starting out, this is really, really crucial. But even if I would say, like if you're in the first 1 to 3 years of your business, even if you're beyond that, list growth is still crucial because you always need to be refreshing your list, right? When I say your list, I'm talking about your email list, and it is going to naturally shed. You are going to naturally have people fall off that are no longer interested. They're not opening your emails, or they unsubscribe altogether. And so, or for that matter, maybe you have a very solid, devoted community in your email list and you are not having consistent unsubscribes. However, after a while, that list, that community is saturated with everything that you are offering. And so you want to be bringing in fresh people to your community who haven't seen your offers yet, right? It just makes plain sense. So list growth, no matter where you are in your business, is crucial. Now, just starting out, using paid advertising like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, anything that you are paying dollars for the lead, for the potential client, that may not be your best approach when you're starting out, depending on what your budget is and what your skill level is in building these kinds of paid advertising campaigns. There are other options, as you learn here on my channel, because I am talking a lot about right now bundle giveaways, right, that I'm participating in to grow my list. And what this is an exchange of time more so than money, right? The time I put into creating the offers and the process for being a part of these events. And of course, then my part of the agreement is promoting these events when it comes time. So there are also other ways that you can grow your list. And so I'll pause for a second and say, so just think of list growth as your number one priority, because it doesn't matter where you are in your business. If your list isn't growing, your community isn't growing, and your business isn't growing, okay? So you can use bundle giveaways. This is, and I'm talking about not paid ads. You can use bundle giveaways, podcast guesting, summits, speaking at summits or speaking at events, virtually or in person. You can use blog articles or posting articles on other platforms like Medium. You can use newsletters. You can do newsletter collaborations, newsletter swaps, freebie swaps. That's your lead magnet, your opt-in, right? There are a host of ways that you can grow your list. And ultimately, your goal should be to have diversity in the ways you grow your list so that you are not solely reliant on one thing. I can't tell you how many coaches I have come across or had conversations with, and some are friends and colleagues who have grown their list very quickly and massively through Facebook ads, which is wonderful, right? It's like the best of both worlds to be able to grow a really big following very quickly. However, many of them have also experienced kind of an abrupt halt to that, where something changes with Facebook and now what was converting and getting leads for them isn't working anymore, or or getting your ads account shut down and they can't get back in. And so what they're finding is that because they relied solely on Facebook ads as a means to grow their list, that now they are dead in the water. They have to find something else. And they're scrambling quickly to not lose the momentum, the growth in their business, the revenue. And so regardless of which kind of list growth activity you pursue, set the goal that you will have diversity in that. So even though I always want you to start out with a singular focus in order to make things less complicated and more doable, so that means I might suggest that you focus on bundle giveaways first, right? Or summits first. I always want you to have the intention to, within I'd say 3 to 6 months, if you can do it sooner, great, but if not, that you bring in another list growth activity, right? So that you at least have 3 different solid list growth avenues coming into your business, okay? So that's list growth. Very, very crucial and necessary. The next is email marketing. So with a growing list, you have a community now who needs to hear from you regularly. And ideally, you want to be emailing your list at least once a week. I would much prefer to see 3 times a week or even more. And I know, I hear this like that. I don't want to make people on my list angry. I don't want to annoy people. Isn't that just going to cause everybody to unsubscribe if I'm emailing frequently? There have been studies done to show that emailing on a daily basis actually does better than emailing just once or twice a week. Reason being, though, is those daily emails are of high value to the reader. So they look forward to getting those emails. They want those emails. They open them, they consume them, and they're very happy to do so. So that's the difference. If you are emailing your list, let's say 4, 5, 6 times a week with a promotion, here, buy this, check out this, buy this, check out this, of course, people are going to get annoyed and not pay attention anymore because either, well, one, there isn't the value, there isn't something that is actually inspiring them or making something easier for them. Also, the offers are not relevant. Maybe they were never relevant, or maybe they're no longer relevant, right? Maybe they've already purchased before. Providing value, you can email more often as long as what you're sending is a value to your community, right? That they look forward to opening those emails every day. They know that they're going to get something from it. They're going to get a tip, something that moves them ahead a little bit further, something that helps them to feel better, more positive, more motivated, right? Something that changes that moment for them. So keep that in mind when you hear about emailing more frequently. That is the difference. You can, as you begin to, and it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 people on your list, you have 10,000 people on your list, or you have one person, because this is another thing I hear a lot. I don't really have an email list, so I'm not emailing at all, and I really don't think that matters. Well, as long as you have one person on your list, it matters. That one person should be hearing from you regularly. And why not use this time when you only have one person or 3 or 5 to get consistent with your email marketing? Because as your list grows, it's going to become more and more impactful. And not being consistent at that point is going to affect your business in a negative way more so. Get comfortable and in the habit of emailing regularly now. Okay, I have done this where I have not been consistent when I should have been. And I'll tell you what happens. And again, I've seen it with many other coaches, is the list becomes inactive. So you weren't in front of them enough, or maybe there was even big periods of time where you weren't in front of them at all. And so they just stopped noticing you. They stopped opening your emails, and that person that is in your community that could at some point in time become a client is now inactive and no longer interested. And all the time and effort, and maybe even money, if it was paid ads that brought this person into your community, has been wasted. As I said, I've been guilty of this, but I'm sharing it with you so hopefully you can get a different perspective and not let the same thing happen to you. So email marketing, very, very important. Visibility. I've talked about this a little bit already, but this means, posting on social media regularly. Ideally, you start with one platform. You are writing specifically for one ideal client persona, and you are promoting from time to time one offer. Focus solely on that until you get that working in the way that you want it to, and then you can easily expand to more client personas if that's relevant to your business, or more offers, or even additional social media platforms. Without understanding how it works or what works for you on the specific platform, and having a handle on who you're talking to, what you're talking about, and what you're offering, it really doesn't do you any good to just throw more stuff out there on more platforms. Okay? Keep it simple for yourself so that you can more easily create consistency as well as success with your endeavors, and then expand. But visibility, as I said before, can be posting on social media. It can also be guesting on podcasts. It can also be writing blog articles or posting articles somewhere else. It can also be a YouTube channel. It can be many things. So just know that visibility is very key. It helps you to build your credibility, which is important. A lot of times, depending on how you are approaching it, when you're posting, let's say you're posting on social media, maybe you're posting every day. And you may be getting some list growth from that, right? So you may be getting, depending on how many followers you have on whatever the chosen platform is. If you don't have very many followers, you may find that list growth from this posting on social media is minimal. And you were really hoping that this is what would grow your list. Don't give up, because this is still building credibility, and it's very, very important. But you may need to bring in additional list growth activities to start to grow your list faster and more substantially. Next is energy. And this really should be number one above all of them. And maybe in my mind it is, but energy is everything. Everything is energy, right? The most powerful force in the universe is belief. So when it comes to energy, I usually break it down into 3 areas. There is your mental energy, which is where you create from. And if you have no mental energy, then you're not creating, and your state of mind is probably not so great, right? So understanding your own mental energy, knowing the cues when you have plenty and when you don't have enough, and knowing what to do when you don't have enough mental energy. It's probably going to start with something like step away, right? And then do the things that replenish your energy and your own inspiration. Because where you create from, your mind is the biggest asset in your business. And if you are not nurturing it and cultivating that mental energy, then you are losing your biggest asset. So there's mental energy, and there's also mind management, which is understanding what's really going on in your brain, understanding on the most basic, simplest, fundamental level what is happening in your brain. Let's say when you have a difficult day in your coaching business and something didn't go as planned. Maybe you launched an offer and you didn't get any takers, and so you begin to spiral down, right? Mind management is understanding why that's happening in your brain, what's going on, so that you can step back a little bit and say, okay, I have talked about this before with the chimp, the human, and the computer. I believe, I'm not sure if there's a specific video, there may be, but I will certainly have more in the future where I go more in depth into that. And if you want to learn more about that, let me know in the comments below. Understanding what's going on in your brain, what is simply a function of your brain and not really the truth, right? You've heard me say, not all thoughts have to be true. This is a gentleman, and forgive me for not remembering his name. I have it written down, but it was something that I heard recently, and I really, really love it. So there is that, understanding how your brain works, what's really going on, so that you can better manage your state of mind. And instead of getting derailed for a week, right, you are maybe derailed only for an hour. And that way you can keep going, you can keep building, you can keep creating and growing your business. So the next is something I call lead to sales. And what falls under this is all of your offers and how easy is it to get to your offers, as well as those sales conversations we talked about early on. So you have offers, and I'm going to include free offers and paid offers. So that might be your lead magnets. It might be your low tier offers if you have them. So offers that are only anywhere from, $5 to, let's say, $90 or $100. And then you might even have mid tier, which is $100 to, let's say, $800, and then your higher tier, right? Typically we'll see higher tier as $2,000 going on up to, well, infinitely. So your offers all fall under this lead to sales category. And what's important here is that you are building an offer stack that leads your potential clients on a journey. And in this journey, your offers are answering questions and solving problems from really, really small to really, really big. They're helping them to achieve desired outcomes from really small things to really big things. Now, it takes some time to understand what that is, meaning what problems does your ideal client have? Which of these problems can you solve and how? And what should those offers be from free to paid? Ideally, you get to a point where you have created those and structured them in a way that it leads them on this perfect little journey of a small problem, a small problem, a bigger problem, a bigger problem, and now I'm ready to achieve that big desired outcome, right? But it takes time, so give yourself some grace here as you are working on figuring that out. But that's the goal. Rather than throwing a whole lot of offers out there kind of willy-nilly, do a little bit of homework and find out what it is that your people are actually wanting and needing. What problems do they have? And don't forget, so many coaches, when they're just starting out, were taught to create this big main program, right? You can spend months creating this program, designing the modules, creating all the lessons, writing the lesson plans, creating all the worksheets, recording the videos, setting it up in the membership area, and then launch it to experience nothing because you don't really know what your people want and need yet. So I do have a way of showing you how to create micro offers or micro solutions and building, and as a result of that, building your core program. Actually, it just builds itself in this process. So if you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comments below. So your offers. So it's important to understand your offers that you have and looking at them from that perspective of, is this creating a journey? Is this answering or solving small problems leading up to bigger problems and the ultimate problem and desired outcome? It also means, how easy is it for people to get to these offers and say yes. So for example, if they find you on LinkedIn and they go to your profile, and don't go look at mine. I don't know that mine is right either. I have said this before, that this is an area that I keep putting down at the bottom of my checklist that I have to go look at. I do need to do an audit on all of my lead to sales, all of the pathways in to my business, and make sure that each of them makes it super easy, that if someone does want to work with me, it's easy to do and it's easy to find. We lose so many potential clients in this way. So if somebody finds you on LinkedIn, maybe they came across a post of yours that they really, really liked, so they click to go look at your profile. How easy is it from that point for them to get to see what you offer and actually make the purchase? How easy is it from your website if you have one yet? How easy is it from your YouTube channel if you have one yet, right? For example, I have my list growth planning calendar below for you. If you'd like a copy, you can get it for free and you can make it your own and follow along with me on this list growth journey and grow your list too. But that's just the first step, right? That's how you come into my community, and I can provide you with more solutions along the way. Make it super easy for people. Make the experience really positive. Again, give yourself time to figure all of this out. I'm just bringing your attention to the things that matter most. So lead to sales, as I said, is your offers. How easy is it for people to find your offers and say yes? And then it's possibly even those, or not possibly, it is even those sales conversations, if in fact that is a big part of your strategy and you are having them. If you are not necessarily offering like free strategy sessions or booking a system in place for people to easily be able to book a call with you, and you fall into that more introverted bucket that I spoke about earlier, start thinking about how this is something I'm introducing more into my business. What kind of conversations can I have, for example, using Voxer, and where would it make sense for me to introduce? You don't necessarily want to give your Voxer channel or invite everyone and anyone to talk to you on Voxer, because that might get a little too much, right? But perhaps, let's say that you have low tier offers in your business. So this is that smaller dollar where maybe they can purchase a mini course, or maybe they can purchase a one-off session with you, right? Or maybe it's a template pack. How about those people who make a purchase with you? You share your Voxer channel with them and invite them to come and say hello or ask any questions that they have. If you have a community, like a private community, like a Facebook group, and you are sharing information about your core program, invite people to ask you any questions that they have on Voxer, and you can have that private one-on-one conversation. All right. So there you have it. I've kind of dug deeper into this process and where I put 99.9% of my focus in my business. Now, as far as list growth, we should do a quick update there. Last week I shared with you the complete overhaul that I did on my calendar. I won't bring you back into the calendar again, but I will say that I was able to get into another list growth event last minute again, which is starting next week. A while back, I shared with you how important it is to get on the email list of these list growth event hosts because they will email you with events. And oftentimes, if let's say that the application deadline has passed for an event, but they'd really like to see more people in their event, they may send you an email to say, hey, this event is starting in a week. We still have some more spots available. Or for that matter, the application deadline is in 3 days. Do you want to join us? And that's exactly what happened in my case. And because I'd had those mess ups, right, where did not have events where I thought I did, I had openings in my calendar and I was able to get in to another event last minute, which was perfect. So that makes me very, very happy. So I have an event next week. I think I actually have 2 events next week that overlap just a little bit. So, and I made all of those changes to my list growth kind of management system to improve it because I was making some pretty big mistakes. So clearly my system wasn't working perfectly. So we'll see how this goes as I ramp back up because the end of this month as well as March looks to be very busy with list growth events. Fingers crossed if Michelle doesn't make any huge mistakes. So that is where I'm at with list growth. So my numbers have not changed other than I will say they probably have increased from about 10 to 20 leads just from the other things that I'm doing in my business that is not paid ads, and I'm not doing any paid ads right now. But my normal lead magnet opt-ins and things, that it probably has increased by about 10 to 20 last time I checked, but I'm not including that in my weekly numbers here. But that would put me at around 600 or slightly over. My goal for this first quarter, which I've got a little over a month to get the next 400-ish leads to stay on track for the bigger goal. So fingers crossed. I certainly took a big hit with the mistakes that I made in my list growth planning. So what else has been working really well? I'm getting ready to introduce a new product for my bundle giveaways, which is my Client Clarity in 3 Days email course. So we'll see. That should do well. And I have already tested it to some degree, so I expect it to do well. We'll see how that does in terms of a product for bundle giveaways. And I think that's probably about it. In addition to all of my weekly content that I create and deliver, but I am just keeping on, going ahead with next week and these new list growth events. So I'll keep you updated. If you have any questions, anything that you would like me to talk more about, feel free to put that in the comments below. As I said, if you would like your very own list growth planning calendar, you can get a copy of mine. It will make it easier for you. You'll just change a few things to make it your own, but please feel free to grab it below. And by all means, if this is helpful for you and you'd like to see how I do, whether I'm able to reach this goal of 4,000 subscribers this year without paid ads or complex strategies, then hit like and subscribe so you don't miss a video. But also to help me grow the list and reach more coaches just like us who are growing their business solo. I'll see you next time.